Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Spy Party Competitive League Season 6 cast. I'm your host, Corvus Mallory, and I'm joined today by my co-caster, Slappy Davis.
Hey, happy to be here and cast people that beat me and or actually no, they both did beat me this season and beat me. I have actually a history with these players. All right, I should skip that and save that for later.
All right,
I'm here. I'm Slappy Davis.
fair enough. We have a match today between Kotte and WarningTrack. It is part of the SCL6 Championship Series. We can go ahead and take a look at a little bit about what that actually means. We take 6 competitors from the Masters circuit of SCL6, 3 from Diamond, 2 from Platinum, and 1 from Gold, and let them fight it out in a single elimination tournament to crown the SCL6 champion. 2 of those matches have already taken place. Lazy Bear defeating Rio, and Kotte unfortunately defeating Slappy Davis here. And that sets us up for the semifinal match between Kotte and Warning Track.
It's true, and the better Cody does, the better he makes me look. So I don't know. Actually, quite truthfully, I like both of these players a lot. I have a ton of history with WarningTrack, both in Spy Party and personal, and I've really enjoyed seeing Cody's rise. Do we are we going to already talk about the differing paths that these players have taken, just both their styles and their season, or are we getting into something else first?
No, I really think we should because these players and their history in SCL almost couldn't be more different.
Yeah, and also just so one of the big themes for me is going to be so Warning Track is really famous for having one of the best prep regimens of any player, probably the best. I would say if the community was polled, I think that Warning Track would be overwhelmingly first. I actually don't even know who would come in second as far as a preparer. And so one of the strange things about Kotte is Kotte has a really low game count for how well they've performed. So on the one hand, Kotte has not been as as high stakes matches such as this. Although I guess I don't actually recall off the top of my they haven't placed first or second in that I can recall. So on the one hand, Warning Track has a lot of postseason SCL and tournament experience, and Kotte just has less experience. So the question is going to be whether or not Warning Track will be able to prep off of a player who doesn't play that much, because Kotte, because they don't play that much, might not have the sort of ingrained habits over tens of thousands of games that are easily exploitable, because that is really Warning Track's forte, is upsetting players who over the course of so many hours in Spy Party have calcified routines that are very crisp and very sharp, but he finds the edges on them. So this is a very interesting match between the two players, just because of the difference in game count, but also in how they prepare. For a player that doesn't do a lot of research and just like plays very sharply, this would be a very different style of match that I'd anticipate. So I'm very curious to see how Warning Track will adapt to a player that may not have a lot of background for him to research.
All right, well, the very first part of any match and of any kind of prep we do looks at the picks and bans. So let's take a look at that for this match. This is a playoff match in the SCL postseason. So, like all other playoff matches, each player is afforded 1 ban, 1 restrict, 1 double, and then 2 singles to make a total of a best of 16 match. We have bans on balcony and ballroom, restrictions on veranda and terrace, and then double tan from Kotte, doubled courtyard from Warning Track, and the singles will be terrace, veranda, aquarium, and gallery. Just a huge variety, actually, of venues to play on.
Yeah, what's interesting is that some bread and butter picks were banned out here. Absolutely, if Kotte didn't ban balcony, Warning Track would pick it. Warning Track has gotten a ton of marginal benefit off of balcony. Warning Track plays a ton of balcony and has a lot of key insights into little things that he can pick up. It's funny though, because we might think of Warning Track as bad at balcony because Warning Track just has a large presence in the dailies as losing random balcony games to Drawn Onward. But actually, that is a very small fraction of the games that he plays in. And certainly, Warning Track would have picked balcony at some point if Kotte didn't ban it. So I think that's a good ban right there. And Kotte's playground in ballroom, I think that Warning Track probably didn't feel like they absolutely had to ban ballroom, but really was just leaning in on a map they didn't have to practice as much potentially. So I think that Warning Track's bans were probably just removing things that he needed to practice, where Kotte's bans were actually barbed versus things that he was more worried that WarningTrack would directly pick. And then we get into the picks. Tan caught me off guard. I'm a little bit mixed on that because I think that WarningTrack has picked Taein before versus key opponents. But I mean, basically any sniper can be beaten on here. So Taein is going to be a really wild way to start the match. And then almost the opposite, we have Courtyard being doubled up. So we're going to have a really strange swing of games from the beginning of this match. And then as we go in further, WarningTrack picking up Kotte's Restrict, Kotte answering directly back and picking up WarningTrack's Restrict, and then we have Aquarium and Gallery should we get there.
Yeah, I love to see we have some big occlusion picks here. We have Taein and Aquarium. We have some venues with fantastic sight lines for the sniper by contrast, Courtyard and Terrace. We have a 3 of X, a 4 of X, a 5 of X. We have venues where time is of the essence, places like Gallery and to some extent Courtyard, and places where you just have a ton of time, like I'd probably include Terrace and maybe even Taein in that. So lots of different play styles and ways to test your opponent, I would say, in the selection of venues.
And familiarity, a huge part of this. WarningTrack picks 3 very old venues. Kotte picks 3 very new venues.
All right, well, we are ready to get into our first match here, and it will be on Taein. Kotte will be starting off on the spy side, playing as Orange Sari. WarningTrack going to be opening it up with the sniper rifle. Slappy, you ready to get into this match?
I sure am.
All right, let's play the first game here in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And Kotte here playing a very slow character, Taein. That's not going to be much of a problem. We land in conversation not next to our seduction target, which is just a little bit too bad. But still, like I mentioned, plenty of time here. We'll idle in this conversation for just a bit. And will we go into a second idle or will we bolt? And it looks like Kotte's going to commit to staying here at least for a bit.
Yeah, I'm really curious how both the players tackle Taein. I just would have to imagine that if I was starting off in Taein, I know that there's going to be so much momentum determined at the beginning of the match on a map like Taein that it's a little bit intimidating. We could have potentially gone for a awful bug. Sometimes just reactively you might just try to pick that up because maybe the ambassador paths around us. Because we had an interesting angle there in that we were Orange Dress being passed by the ambassador by Taft, a very fast ambassador, but the pathing wouldn't quite be there. If we went directly into bookshelves, I feel like we might have gone for it. But it would have been a very high-risk play early in a game where you can reliably think that civ shots without much threat to yourself being going on could come off. So we decided not to go for the ultra-aggressive play, and we pick up the green flirt.
Yeah, we pick up the green flirt. We also pick up 1 inspect at a side statue, which is not something you typically see. Wasn't a red chest or anything like that. We just decide that 1 is where we're going to go. Our seduction target leaves conversation, heads over to bookcase to return a book. The ambassador, meanwhile, looks like they're going to leave a print over at blue. Potential target here for Kotte. But I suspect here on Taein, those prints are going to be tracked pretty carefully if you're going to have to do them out in the open like that. We may have to go for either difficults or for something with a little more cover like a bug or a purloin. For now, we're just swatching conversations. Our seduction target joins us in this conversation. We're being offered a drink simultaneously. We will go ahead and take the innocent drink. I assume we'll pick up a flirt here. It won't be enough for a finish given the distance, but it will put us in a very good position. We don't go for that drive-by. Instead, we go for the contact here. It's a pretty decent contact. We'll let off maybe 1 or 2 lowlights, but everyone in conversation has real. So that's 1 mission done. Partial progress on 2 more as we finish that floor for 77%, and 1:20 on the clock, time ticking down.
Yeah, we do eliminate some of the people that have picked up fingerprints, which is going to be interesting because Kotte really likes fingerprint. So I actually think that WarningTrack will take that trade. There's not a ton of lowlights, but I think they're pretty valuable. Are we going to go for the bug right here? We are going to go for the bug. The arm was a little bit stiff behind that Soji, and we do get marked suspicious. I'm not sure if it's because we actually saw the arm, or if we just have to give some suspicion on because of the path. But right now, I think if we go back to statues, we're dead.
Yeah, finishing statues here are going to be extremely risky. The bug is pretty clean, but as you mentioned, the highlight speaks volumes. And so here, sitting with 40 seconds, we don't even have our flirt done yet, and our seduction target standing in the back conversation. We're going to rush back over there, try to finish off this flirt. It's going to be a little bit distant, but should be okay. No problem here, I think, even if we hit the white, but that's going to leave us only about 20 seconds to find our final mission, and I don't know where we're going to find it aside from statues or some kind of desperation purloin.
Yeah, I don't know if we even have time for statue at this point, because if we go back to statues, we definitely have overtime, and there's no way we pick this up. I think we have to do Desperation Purloin, and it is going to be behind Soji, so let's see where Toby goes after this. WarningTrack really is trying to get an angle on it, and does see it, and there's just the shot. Pretty straightforward there, to be totally honest. I don't know what Kotte's plan was. I think Kotte had to assume that they got off that bug clean. Because let's say we got that bug clean off, and we went for the purloin there, we kind of threw away a game that we could have won. I do think that Kotte was in a tough spot, but I don't actually like the follow-up right there at the end by just going for the purloin, because there really wasn't anything else being threatened on the map. So a little bit potentially shaky. I mean, we did get to mission countdown, and sometimes snipers just shoot on Taeyeon. It's not the worst plan, but don't love it.
All right, well, that is the first game gone. We still have plenty of ground to cover here. WarningTrack now going to be on the spy side as Rocker, and Kotte now with the rifle. Let's see if he can answer back in 3, 2, 1, playing. It looks like WarningTrack will take control quickly here. We're going to walk by the Ambassador, not going to take any bug. We're just trying to get to our seduction target outside here. Will we have time for the flirt? It's a white test, and the flirt comes off 29% after our seduction target sips at windows. It's a nice way to open things up. 29% will force a green, but WarningTrack is one of the highest green rates in all of SCL, well above 50%, and so hitting a green flirt here on Taeyeon at some point, probably not something we're going to be too worried about at this point.
I'm really deliberating whether or not that pathing was legal or not. It was very strange because we sneaked through conversation and then back around. So I guess if there was a complete seal that was put off there by, I guess that was Kane on the inside Soji, I don't think it's going to matter, although because I don't really find Kotte's pathing knowledge to be the spot where he puts a lot of his focus. But interesting that WarningTrack is intentionally going for things like that. Banana Bread comes off. It does knock out a statue suspect, but overall pretty decent. People are in conversation, both DAs are in, and not much information being given there, and really still no highlights for Kotte at all.
There's that flirt that we needed, up to 80% now. We're just going to reject the drink here, not going to go for the purloin. Purloin on Taeyeon, especially with the lower number of guests that we have in SCL6, can be relatively deadly if you don't have good shoji cover for it. And with the shoji the way they are now, just kind of difficult to cover Toby the way you'd really, really want to. And so instead we're just going to hang out here in the conversation. We could go for a timer flirt on Kane, finish off that mission. 2 minutes left on the clock though, so after we finish off this flirt, we will have 2 missions done. We won't have a lot of time to find numbers 3 and 4. Fingerprint may be out at that point. We could always just go center statues and pick up a mission that way, but you're really going to be trying to find either a good bug or a good purloin setup at this point.
Ambassador, one of the ways you can kind of tell whether or not a sniper is going to be in trouble is how many paths does the Ambassador snake around to the middle part of the conversations where the backs of both sides are there, and how many people take plausible bug paths. Disney definitely took a plausible bug path, didn't earn a highlight, but definitely seemed to capture the attention of Kotte for a moment. And Ambassador's been moving around enough that there's probably a bug potentially out there. There is two highlights out there now with the 2 slower characters, White Dress and Orange Dress, but it doesn't look like they're anything more than statue highlights. I don't think that they're for anything super strong right now, but I do think that I don't know, I feel like it's kind of even. I guess there's not much that's been like definitively done by WarningTrack that makes me think that anything is going to come off here. We've just picked up some statue highlights. I don't think a shot is really liable to come off, but the weird thing is, so Ambassador's been moving around, and the party's been relatively stale, so sometimes that makes the sniper actually really nervous because they don't see somebody really trying to finish missions. Rocker has done nothing.
Yeah, Rocker really has done nothing. We've just been sitting in this conversation. Now we go for green purloin. Now we've done something with 22 seconds left. But the question is, are we going to try to mission win, or are we just going to hope this purloin comes off and induces a shot? With 17 seconds left, even if someone takes, it has to be right now, or there will have to be overtime, and there won't be overtime. A reject from the Ambassador, that means that there will be no overtime hung here unless we do something else. We only have 5 seconds left. WarningTrack's not going to have time to do it. We go for the bug. We find the bug. That's the mission win pending. Now it's all about, but no, the bug is seen before the purloin even comes off. off. The shot for the bug onto WarningTrack. Kotte all over that bug, not going to get away with that one. And while we were trying to hang the clock, we don't even get there.
Yeah, so that was a very interesting problem that we talk about sometimes, where the purloin actually takes too long. So normally when we talk about the purloin taking too long, it's because it took so long that overtime is going to trigger, and sometimes that can get the spy instantly shot just because they have to shoot somebody. But this purloin took so long, it didn't even trigger in time for the sniper to think that they were in trouble. So an odd case of there being too many rejects. Now, the thing is, I think WarningTrack basically had this game planned out pretty much this way from the beginning. They were going to sit around and do nothing, get close enough to mission finish that if there was a bug attempt, they were just going to take it. But if not, purloin around 30 seconds and then just see what happens. But it doesn't go off in time. There's no reason to shoot. And even if it went for the last person, I don't know if they would have gotten shot. So a little bit unfortunate there. I am surprised, though, that Kotte took that shot before overtime. I'm very surprised that Kotte took that shot before overtime. So I don't really know why that would happen. Kotte knew that was guaranteed, and because the bug wasn't 100% confirmed, so not quite sure. But anyways, it was the right shot, so Kotte was all over it. I do think that I think that track is going to be okay with how it's gone so far. I think that track splitting on Taeyeon, even if it's a pure split, track will take that. Sorry, apparently you were muted.
Yep, I'm back. 51% on the flirt.
Okay,
and we are going to be looking here to see if we can find something else to do with our time as we wait here. Unfortunately, not going to get that timer flirt. We're going to have to go find something else to do.
People are asking me to reply or restate whatever happened, but really nothing has happened. We've done a flirt, so it was the perfect time for Mike to go because, well, I mean, what do we want to say? Right now, it's the spy trying to do the innocuous things first, and not much has happened.
Yeah, not much has happened at all, and now Kotte just going out to the back window, kind of acknowledging our lack of activity here, just leisurely sipping, staring down the abyss. We will move into conversation across from our seduction target here. We will not be able to two-flirt from this position. We'll go ahead and take the flirt regardless. It's another green test, 89% now. Any flirt will do. At this point, we've got to be looking around thinking, okay, are we going to try to complete missions, and where will it be? Statues have some cover here from the shoji, so that's an option, especially if we go to front statues. Ambassador comes right to us. This is a little bit risky. We have a lot of cover.
If we don't take this bug, I'm worried. Okay, actually, that's not the right timing, I don't think.
No.
I think that our head just came into the little valley that was between the heads that we're looking around. Now, there's no highlight coming off, but I think that track wouldn't highlight for that if they did see it. So it's possible that it was missed. Ooh, red test seduction target. Flirt is canceled. And that actually is really bad. I don't think we're going for a frame on Smallman. It is true, though, that red tests on Smallman should always be treated as prima facie an attempt to frame Smallman. But I do think we actually wanted that because right now we're kind of far behind on flirt progress, and Smallman hasn't really done anything.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of just a mental break there. A lot of players will instinctively go for the green, even though in that situation, at 89%, we can really just ignore the action test. We'll have plenty of flirt. So the red test there, an unforced error. We're crammed next to the ambassador. We take a fake contact. The real double agent is out. Only our conversation has real in the sniper's eyes, and it's not even real for us. We do finish off flirt here after that red test. 32 seconds, 31 now on the clock, and even after getting that bug and living to tell the tale, at least temporarily, we just have nowhere here to go. 24 seconds. We only had 2 missions done, no partial progress. At this point, we have to be thinking about a purloin, but no, we're going to walk away. Are we thinking about a time ad? We still need our contact. We have a very ugly path into this conversation. Here comes the real contact. This one will be white. That's not good for us either. 8 seconds, and looks like we're headed for a timeout.
I think we're going to try to request drink immediately in purloin. I don't think we actually even have time for this, though. It's not even going to come off. Yeah, it's not going to come off. So I think that the plan, where there might have honestly even been a dance, given where we were standing, was to go to the very back conversation, contact in purloin. But the play was slow enough that we don't even get the purloin off in time. If it had been slightly faster, we had a chance at a dance win. But honestly, I'm a little bit worried because this was Kotte's pick, and this game didn't have pacing, which is a little bit strange for Kotte, because on normal maps, Kotte has pretty good pacing. So I don't think clearly Taeyan hasn't worked out exactly how they thought, because they're going to be coming away with the split at best. But I'm a little bit worried just overall for Kotte's play that their pacing has been off, and that is one of their strong suits.
All right, well, that will take us to our 4th game of Taeyan. WarningTrack here, looking actually to pull into the lead now on Kotte's pick, and Kotte is going to be sniping to try to keep even. WarningTrack playing as Boots in 3, 2, 1, playing.
So right now, WarningTrack plays a little bit looser, as do most players, when they feel like they have a little bit of slack. Right now, WarningTrack can try something kind of wild here and still get what they wanted, which was a split, but potentially take a shot at getting something like a 3-1. Coming out of Taeyan with 3-1 would be huge for WarningTrack going into Courtyard, which I would assume he would feel pretty confident on Sniper. And has good shots at Spy. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have an ultra-aggressive game. And so far, it's looking fairly aggressive, as we got a flirt, 49%, so we have the shot and a 2 flirt, and we're going straight in the middle statues. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a attempt at 2 flirt with Seek into a banana bread, purloin, and then wildness.
Well, we have one part of that puzzle. We have the 3 inspects done. The ambassador races over and joins us here in conversation, making a beeline for us. We hit a white flirt, unfortunately. That's 82%, so no 2 flirt for us. We could go for a bug here, but not going to try it. Our buttons are just sticking up a little bit too high, and that lean would be super visible. And so for now, we have a briefcase at our feet, which we could go and pick up if we want to try to force some prints here. But I suspect that you're right. We could still try to look for finishing that flirt and then finding some kind of bug purloin into endgame craziness. We will be offered here, and it will be a reject.
I'm going to wonder if we go for Ambassador to not take the path behind us, so we're not able to take a shot at that bug. Ambassador is so close to being able to do a cross-conversation bug. The contact comes off. There's only a couple people outside. It's pretty good contact. Both DAs are in. And we are one of just 2 highlights. So I do think that that's not that's just an indication of the fact that we have inspects, but it is going to get us some additional scrutiny. And we're going to purloin right after that second BB. Did Kotte see it? And we're going to finish up this flirt. So Kotte's going to have to shoot within 10 seconds since purloin coming off, and I'm not sure how on top of it they are.
When you see that second contact come off, when everyone who's not low lit already has real, you have to be thinking purloin or bug and staying on top of it. And this is going to hang for quite some time. Toby doesn't have anyone to talk to yet. Still a minute 10 on the clock. This is going to be a very early finish for Taeyan. And here comes the take. Fade is pretty hard to see, but no hesitation whatsoever from Kotte. Immediate flip over onto track for that center inspect and banana bread purloin finish. No hesitation, no confusion, and a split here on Taeyan 2-2.
Yeah, interesting to see that shot. That laser came over ridiculously fast. But WarningTrack actually tried to do the non-suspicious thing of presenting themselves, because sometimes they'll see ultra-fast shots on Taeyan because they're worried about the dance. But WarningTrack going there, I would say actually pretty decent play, just because let's say it was behind the Soji with enough time for there just to be a delayed shot and just maybe pull off a win. I think that basically went how WarningTrack was hoping it would, and kind of took just a coin flip. Which I think they're okay with. And they came away with it 2-2, which has a slight advantage towards WarningTrack, I would imagine.
All right, well, that will take us into Courtyard. Courtyard was WarningTrack's pick after Kotte picked Taeyan. So now we are going to be treated to what WarningTrack has in store for us. But first, it will be Kotte on the spy side, playing as green dress, WarningTrack on the sniper side. Track looking to lock it down in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
A lot of this might come down to whether or not there are enough fingerprint attempts, especially difficult fingerprints. Kotte really likes going for difficults, especially ones that have cooked for a while. And I'm imagining that this would go doubly so on place like Courtyard, where Kotte doesn't like to do a ton of obvious hardtails. They really just go in hard on the softtails. So we'll see how active Amba is, because I'm thinking that's plan A for Kotte. And we get a very weak flirt from across the conversation circle, but hey, you gotta get your percents when you can.
Yeah, 17%. It's about as weak as you can be, but we're here in conversation with the double agent, and our conversation's pretty full. Kotte agrees and is going to take a white banana bread here. Will knock out maybe a couple people. Orange Sari gets a low light, I think, for taking a drink at the time. And now we have Twin here, going to be dropping off the case for the ambassador. Gets a low light, I think, for being out of conversation. And so we have contact done, 17% on the flirt, but not a lot of real fingerprint opportunities, as you were mentioning, especially, I don't think there's been a single difficult opportunity yet in the game.
Yeah, and I was curious about us going back and forth on I can't tell which twin that was, but the twin with the briefcase, because I think he was deliberating whether or not he thinks that Kotte's the kind of player that would go for a contact wall in the back conversation circle with the briefcase, take that kind of risk, and he was hemming and hawing about it. And I think he makes the right read. Hopefully, he doesn't pay too much attention. Every once in a while, we'll take lowlights and say, all right, I'm convinced myself, I don't think it's this person, but we'll kind of still pay attention to them, which disregards the intent and the usefulness of the lowlight in the first place. And we'll see, because there's another briefcase return. I actually can't tell if that's the same twin or not. But I'm very curious to know if WarningTrack is paying any attention to that twin at all or not, even though we had the lowlight.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. We try to get that flirt, but there's too many people blocking us and our star-crossed lover. We're not able to make it to the window pad before Kane leaves. No flirt for us. Minute 9 on the clock now. Still only 17% on the flirt. There's a lot of things you can rush on Courtyard, but flirt is not one of them. And so if we intend to finish missions here, I don't think flirt can be part of the plan. We're going to have to find Prince and a hardtail, or 2 hardtails to close this out with 55 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and the fact that we don't have a solid path to flirt right now is really bad for us, because that means we're dumping time into flirting when we should be dumping time into figuring out what our 4th mission is going to be. So we're going to have to flirt pretty quickly here and then immediately decide something. We get another white test, so we need a green test close flirt to even finish flirt. I think we have to pearl in here. We don't. I don't know if we have any shot at finishing missions anymore. I think we either needed to purloin there or go for a really quick time ad. I'm worried for Kotte here, because WarningTrack is really good at holding shots if there's not a really compelling reason to take one. I think Kotte might time out again.
Yeah, with 10 seconds here, there will be overtime. Our seduction target gets red tested. We're not able to hit that green, which we really needed. We're going to go for a time ad here, which I think is the right decision. Fortunately, it's a white time ad, so the low light's coming off immediately from track. That white time ad, very easy to catch, but the highlight onto Smallman, actually, I don't understand that highlight. Pretty sure Smallman could not possibly have added time. We know it's not overtime hanging, so okay, we have 30 seconds more for Kotte to find something. We get a white flirt for 85%. That's not really what we needed. We still needed a green. So with 25 seconds, we're basically in the same place that we were a minute ago.
Yeah, and this is very strange. So sometimes in these kind of weird events, I'm actually a little bit worried for WarningTrack now, although now time's ticking down and he's doing just fine. Oh man, if we could purloin after Smallman, if he rejects, that would be wonderful. Right now, WarningTrack is staring down. Okay, so now we have the swap come off. Was anybody there before? Did we even really give that an honest shot, or are we just trying to make something happen? Yeah, no one was there that really could have compellingly given us a swap frame. So nothing too much going on there. Honestly, we didn't know it, because we probably thought that if there was stuff coming off, Smallman would have been low lit. If we went for the swap on Smallman statue, maybe we could have made something happen, even though it was our 4th mission. But instead, we basically do what I would consider to be essentially a timeout, in that we swap a statue that we would have timed out with anyway on a place that nobody has visited for a while. So we were either getting shot or WarningTrack was going to hold the shot. Kotte seems a little bit flustered by the ST's movements during that match or
Yeah,
that map.
I think that's probably fair. And by the way, this shot from this shot from WarningTrack made me pretty nervous. Shooting through traffic here when we really didn't need to. We had plenty of time, not even going for the headshot, going for the center of mass, right next to Six Elbow and right over Mom's shoulder there. It's certainly a confident shot. We've seen confident flicks from both of these players, but you have to be careful. There are lots of venues, and Courtyard is one of them, where a missed shot is definitely a possibility, and it can rob you of a much needed sniper win. We'll see if those kinds of shots continue as we move into the second game of Courtyard. Track will be playing here on the Spy side as Plane Twin, and it will be Kotte now on the Sniper side. Let's see if Track has a chance to break serve in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And we're at Windows, and we're just going to sit here at Windows.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of players, if they start at Windows like this, are going to go for a really cheesy timeout, especially because there's actually quite a few people at Windows. I actually kind of would have liked to see that, but I think WarningTrack is coming into this game with a plan.
Yeah, when you see someone doubling a venue, especially someone who prepares as much as WarningTrack, you do typically think they have a game plan here, and while reacting to the party is a big part of playing SpyParty, if you come in with a plan, you don't necessarily want to throw it all out the window in the first 2 seconds of the game to try to cheese some time out here. You want to stick to the script and see what transpires.
And I think that also Track may have picked Courtyard because he picked up that on maps where there's a lot going on, Kotte has really good discipline to try to go for things like fingerprints. But on Courtyard, because, and we've actually been talking about this in the community recently, because Courtyard, there's so much information that's just openly available to the sniper, there's not as much subtlety on this map. And in some ways, that makes the map a very interesting and strange place, in that it becomes more like a rock, paper, scissors, and you get into the other person's head, and there's not as much micro or planning or stylistic differences. And so one of the problems that Kotte has run into on Courtyard, including his match versus me, was he's slow on Courtyard because they're indecisive about the moment at which to strike.
This could be huge. No, okay, we get the rotation. We go for the banana bread. We do a white purloin here. What's the reaction going to be from... It's a highlight. No shot. Kotte not 100% confident about that fade. So we're highlit, Smallman is highlit, and Sick is highlit. We're going to have to see what happens here. I think we're probably suspect number 1, but suspect number 1 is still breathing, so we still have some life in us yet.
Yeah, and so we're top suspect, and I don't think we could go to statues. So I think we're really going to be banking on a bug if we can get one. We have a minute to plan this out a little bit. We're really looking around for a seduction target, hoping that they land someplace. Oh, if they could come into this conversation and be across from us in the conversation, that would be great. They just decide not to. Kind of teasing us there a bit by standing. Basically, the back of his foot is in that conversation circle. Oh, and they actually poke in for a second again. Oh, but I think they actually are heading in. Track is going to love this. So now that we actually have a shot, we can finish up Flirt here. But then what do we do for our last mission? Something fun from this position could be is if we go into a statue where there's already somebody at the other statue, so we're not worried about getting shot immediately just for going to statues. Like, okay, well, we don't do the fun thing. We go, yeah, exactly. We just get shot immediately. Because I was gonna say, if you go to a statue where there's already somebody there, sometimes the snipers wait until and see if you actually stick around long enough to get both statue visits. You can do a dirty little swap. But Track just plays it safe, assumes that he might have gotten away with it, and just goes for the maybe potentially boring play. Could have worked, didn't. Kotte was over it.
All right, so it's been split so far. Still no one able to break serve on any of these venues. And Kotte, I think if Kotte can come away with a split on Courtyard, that's still something that they can play from. They have a chance here to even try to come up ahead if they can get this spy win. But it's hard to think of something more difficult. It will be as Salmon on Courtyard, WarningTrack sniping in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And
I'm
Kotte
a little
here
bit
takes
worried.
control and wanders over here to the corner of the venue. Nothing for it. Spying our ST over there on the side. We might go path over there, but Kotte's been showing a lot of pacing concerns, so I'm really curious to see if they're going to change up how they flirt on this game.
Yeah, I'm thinking right now, to me, the balance of the spy side, at least, is going to go to whichever player changes away from what they're doing, maybe a little bit wrong, I guess I could say so far. WarningTrack is playing really normal games, and Kotte is playing slow games. Either WarningTrack needs to start throwing together some different kinds of games, not just standard good games where you get a finish in, but it's kind of apparent who if the sniper's on top of the threat count, they're just going to kind of win, and Kotte's pretty good at that. Versus Kotte, who also needs to be more aggressive, who's been like way too slow. So maybe I'm just saying whichever spy starts getting to get more aggressive and really forcing something might be the one that starts taking it away. But so far, that is not Kotte.
Yeah, it's absolutely not. Kotte is just standing in this conversation, 2 minutes on the clock. All that's transpired in the last almost minute and a half has been a single green flirt. Now, green flirt's great, don't get me wrong. We join conversation now with the double agent, but we just go for a normal talk. We're not going to try to contact here. Contact at this point will probably involve a double talk. And so even though the conversations are pretty full, no contact is coming off at this point. Minute 40 now on the clock. And the DA leaves.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a bummer. Especially because that would have been a pretty decent contact, and now we are really far behind on pace because at least after the contact, we could have done something. We're being really slow. I hope we actually. Oh, Double H comes back though, and maybe we're gonna try for a purloin right now, just off the back of that. We are going to try. Toby was with us forever, but let's run away! Run away! Run away! Oh no, we got seen. If we had bailed immediately after that purloin, maybe we could have gotten away with something because Track was staring down the ambassador. And we gulped. So we stayed still and we gulped. Oh, I was gonna. Maybe I should take that back. I was thinking that was a terrible choice, but because Track was looking at the ambassador so closely, and he just highlight instinctively the person with the drink. When he saw the next sip take away the drink, maybe he assumed that Kotte was not the spy. There's the big moment of truth. It's whether or not the shot comes off right now.
And indeed it does. Shot comes off for the inspect. Track was on top enough of the purloin to give us enough suspicion and threat to take the shot there. That's going to be the 4th point for WarningTrack on Courtyard. It's a nice idea with the purloin here, and it almost works. We get the contact off, and DA comes and joins us. And you're right, we're staring at the ambassador. The purloin takes place entirely off screen, and we're just barely seen here, but we are visible holding a drink. And so I think that gulp maybe diminishes suspicion on us a little bit, but really just not enough.
Yeah, it was a good shot though. It was a good attempt by Kotte there. I think that's the first sniper game where WarningTrack was flustered. And he needs to be doing more of that. So I do like the play at least. And finally, maybe WarningTrack is on the back foot a little bit as sniper, and we'll see how they respond to spy.
All right, well, the last game of Courtyard coming up here. WarningTrack on the spy side as Alice. Kotte now on the sniper side. WarningTrack with a chance to show something off on his pick of Courtyard in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And for now, we're just going to be a lot of just like hanging out at windows. Our seduction target not going to quite come join us. Goes into that pack conversation instead. And we are going to try to squeeze our way in, but we stop. We can't find the space. And so we land in conversation with an SDA.
I don't know why these players are valuing Kane as seduction target so highly. I want to say Kane has been the seduction target in at least half of the games so far today. We do bail on this banana bread, even though it's a white. We're still off screen. We're still off screen.
Swap.
Or WarningTrack. Oh my
Swap.
god, he knows he's off screen. He's got to be so tempted by this. Is he going to try to go for a full inspect and
Run
swap
away.
off screen? Oh, we don't go for the swap, but we're still not seen. We're not going to get credited with even inspecting. We snuck inspect somehow. That's a huge problem for Kotte. Kotte I'm a little bit worried, or sorry, I'm a lot a bit worried for Kotte because I think WarningTrack also knows that he got away with it.
Yeah, at this point,
And I'm gonna anticipate that.
you really just have to be thinking, okay, if I have inspects in the bag and I don't have to worry about it, then maybe I just say, what can I force here that's not a complete hardtail that's just going to be shot on sight, but that the sniper can credit and then not shoot me for in terms of threat, not thinking that I'm mission winning. And I think it has to be fingerprint.
That's right. I was gonna say there the strange thing about it is getting away. Oh, we're going back into statues. Is this gonna undo everything we've got? There's still no rotate. There's still no rotate. There's still no rotate. Kotte
No!
is giving up the far side
Kotte!
of this. Wait, we got a fingerprint. Okay, I thought we were swapping there and running away. So we pick up the fingerprint for free. So now there's an interesting amount of stuff that WarningTrack is stealing. So at first I was like, okay, the obvious play is to go swap here, but I actually really like what WarningTrack did. So normally you'd say, okay, jump in there, get the swap in, throw that dagger in. But now we're leaning into the advantage we already have. Like you mentioned before, the big thing that Kotte does not have on WarningTrack is a good read on his threat. He's got inspects and half a fingerprint. That means when we do this contact and we go for any fingerprint, there's almost no way Kotte could possibly shoot. And I think that's exactly what we're doing here.
Yeah, we can force this fingerprint as badly as we want. It's just not enough for someone to take a shot. It's an easy print off this briefcase. We do a little bit of a weird walk past the ambassador, but we get the briefcase back. Not sure about that return, but it doesn't really matter. It happens at the end of the game, and the fingerprint is done. And WarningTrack, with a beautiful spy win there, reading the laser rotation not once, but Slappy reading it twice.
Yeah, so it was interesting there that Kotte was willing to give up that side of the statue for a really long time. Um, I'm a little bit surprised there because maybe Kotte's plan was we've seen this before on a really famous play, or at least famous to me, where Zero TKA versus KCM left, just never moved his laser at the beginning of Courtyard, and then watched people that went to the far sides, and then just based on the timing, eventually rotated in, saw the statue had changed, and shot KCM. So maybe it was a bait into a swap, and then when Kotte went around and saw that there was no swap, wasn't worried about it, because that's a really long time to leave those other sides of the statues open. So I'm just a little bit surprised that the other side of the statues never really got seen.
All right, well, that will take us out of Courtyard. WarningTrack now leading in the set 5-3 as we head into the singles. As a reminder, this is first to 9, and if we go 8-8, then we'll be going into missions equals points as the tiebreaker. Heading now to Kotte's pick of Terrace, and it will be Kotte on the spy side as Alice, WarningTrack on the sniper side. Terrace, like Courtyard, a lot of good sight lines, but now we only have to do 3 missions in 3, 2, 1, playing it. And we're going to step into bar here. Going to finish off our drink and presumably pick up a delegate. We're kind of crammed in here behind General, but we're definitely seeable, so we can't just try to completely cheese this list take.
Yeah, can't completely cheese this list take, and also not something really that I would assume Kotte would really be into. We have just bar highlights here, so no big deal for this highlight, but it does mean that going for an early purloin here would be tricky. And I'm curious what we try to do here. Kotte did pick Terrace, and WarningTrack anticipated a pick of Terrace for Kotte. So normally, that banana bread is gonna knock out a few people, and we're not really gonna get much for it. Track's a bit slow on these lowlights though. We only get 2 off of that. I think there was at least 3. So that banana bread actually didn't end up being that bad. I think there was another low light we could have gotten out there, and the marginal low lights on this map are going to be very important. But so far, pretty even trade, and we just have this lingering bar highlight. It'll probably get dropped soon.
Yeah, dropping bar highlights on Terrace can be something you really have to keep on top of. We pick up a green flirt across conversation for 25%. If you're not dropping your bar highlights, you're really losing a lot of equity here because on Terrace you have the attention necessary to do that. And so here comes the neutral light onto Kotte, who's going to step into statues. This is interesting. Inspects, of course, is on, swap is off. And you don't typically see spies doing inspect on Terrace that often.
Yeah, it does. So it's interesting here because it's a easy way to pick up mission progress, but it's also aggressive, which is a weird thing to say about inspects. So potentially, Kotte could try to get away with being a little bit more aggressive on this map because they've had such pacing problems before. The problem with that really is going to be the fact that we need a lot more flirting. So I think if we visit statues with 20 seconds or so left in the game, that's going to be a pretty hard sell for me. And it looks like we might be going for a purloin instead.
Yeah,
Do we leave next to somebody that was talking? I don't actually think this is not going to be a frame delegate. I don't think, right?
I don't think it can be. I don't think we've been delegated to. So we're just over here at bar picking up. We're just going to reject, actually, not even pick up a delegate. And we're just going to finish off inspects, actually. So that's going to be one mission done with inspects, one mission done with contact. With 40 seconds left, we're not really going to have time to finish flirt here. So we may have to look for something else to finish.
Yeah, so the question here is going to be whether... Oh, actually, we just got shot. It was concerning of, we could have been flirting with General. I was going to say I was a little bit surprised that shot came off, but actually from WarningTrack's perspective, if Kotte was flirting with General, we could have been done. So it totally makes sense, but Kotte wasn't actually finishing, but it could have been a finish on, and WarningTrack simply shoots the first person that could have been done.
Yep, and sometimes on Terrace, that's just what you have to do. So we were at bar twice with General. That's 2 flirts, that's 2 greens, that's 1 mission, and 1 mission is part of 3, and 3 missions is 1 shot. Quick maths from WarningTrack is able to tie up the game win, and we go into the next game here. Will be Terrace WarningTrack now on the spy side as Smallman, and Kotte on the sniper side. In 3, 2, 1, playing. We do see swap off again, as is typical, and despite there being a really significant bar rush, we're not going to go try to chase down over there. We think there's not really... No, I take it back. WarningTrack is going to join the bar with our seduction target. We are flirting with General, and we get a green test, 51%, and we demand.
Interesting choice to demand drink. Also interesting. We're gonna demand and then leave. Okay, so it's a little bit interesting. So maybe that was a mistake there. Didn't actually mean to demand, and we left early just because we didn't want to arise suspicion, or it's some sort of like next level play to make the other characters look strange. I'm not really sure. One of the things I was going to comment on is it was a little bit potentially awkward to join a bar full of people, flirt first, and then ask for a drink, because if the sniper's really paying attention and there's not much else to pay attention to on the map, they'll see that the person was there for too long before asking for a drink. Are we going to be aggressive about this flirt with General? Looks like not. We're just going to be waiting.
Yeah, we are going to take our time here. Not the demand. I think you're right. The demand is an interesting choice, especially since we don't wait for the drink at all. We do see a statue left at that bird statue, I think it is. So that's a potential for later on in the game if we choose to go for it. Prince, of course, very good on a venue like Terrace, where if you can let them cook for a long time, they can be high value. We go chase down our seduction target, General. Can we get another green here? No, it's a white test. We have a white test for 85%. Still nice to see. 2 minutes now on the clock. We still needed a contact. We still need 1 more flirt. Plenty of time for both of those things, despite both the DA and our seduction target being a bar.
Yeah, so right now we don't have a clear path to victory. We're bouncing out of here pretty quick. This is going to steal our fingerprint, isn't it? I'm bad at fingerprints.
I think
is this
it
the
is.
fingerprint statue, or was... Okay. I couldn't tell if Twin just stole our fingerprint there. Although, actually, no, it was the other one. Or at least, or WarningTrack missed the fingerprint on the statue. So Twin stole the fingerprint that we wanted, and so now we picked up an inspect, which I don't think Track really wanted, but they're pathing over that direction anyway. We faked the banana bread. we're in an okay. I was thinking that maybe if Ambassador came over our way, we'd try to cheese a
We get the print
bug. So we
anyways.
do go back for the fingerprint. It's difficult now. That's right. So we lasered it on this, and so maybe that actually was to our advantage because now we have a difficult fingerprint instead of an obvious fingerprint. And look, Ambassador is at the bar. We already finished our seduce, so we don't need to be next to this person. But now we can pick up the reel, and it'd be a pretty good reel. Okay, so I don't think that Ambassador's left any fingerprints here. We might be waiting for this to cook for a while.
Wait,
we
Track.
go to Windows.
Track, what are you doing? Print off bar. What are you doing? Please, Track. There's a printed bar. Please, print off the bar. Why?
So, are we gonna? Oh, maybe we're gonna choose the briefcase at our feet. I don't really understand though. So, we could choose this briefcase at the feet, but right now, Kotte seems to be all over it. If we go to the bar right now, maybe we can avoid overtime. I don't think so though. And Kotte definitely notices these beeps right now. Maybe this could throw suspicion onto whatever twins that statue. I can't tell which one. Oh, I guess that's Plane statue or Plane twin. But there's not going to be overtime, so I think Kotte would be lining up a shot on Plane twin, but there's not going to be beeps. And okay, now we can't do the. Okay, we are cheesing the briefcase. This totally makes sense. Are we gonna get shot though? No. It's gonna be on Admiral instead. Odd choices. I don't totally get it. It's weird because his Track was staring down the bar and chose not to. It's too easy for him.
Yep, we just go for this briefcase. It's right by our feet. We are small men here. We're small men, and our selection target comes right to us. We have a couple. We have here Cowboy, General, and Taft blocking the sniper's view, and there is just no way that Kotte can see this briefcase. And despite Disney going to bar and losing that print for us, it doesn't even matter. We have so much cover here that we have plenty of time to do this briefcase, cheese the fingerprint right off of it. It's completely invisible here from the sniper's perspective. There's overtime. We just line up the shot, whatever highlight we can see. It's the wrong shot. And just like that, WarningTrack sweeps Kotte's pick of Terrace.
I love also the death cam on this one, where after we shoot General and everybody gets to the ground, the only face that he can see is Smallman's face is revealed as everybody drops to the ground, holding the briefcase, looking smug as always. It's always fun to see.
All right, well that will be Terrace. We hardly knew ye. And now we go to a venue that has not a terrace, but a upgraded terrace. You might even say a veranda. And in tune with that upgrades, we have 2 additional missions to do. Kotte now needs to make up some ground quick, because I believe WarningTrack here with 7 points is closing in on the 9 points necessary to wrap up the set. Kotte needs a huge reverse here, and it's going to start on veranda, which is WarningTrack's pick, and was at Kotte's restrict as sick in 3, 2, 1, plane.
So it sneaks really fast, and so that's going to be a big benefit on veranda. But Kotte very specifically restricted veranda, and I think that Kotte was already showing pacing problems. Veranda is very hard if you don't pace. So I think that Kotte is going to have to play against type even more than he has in the other games, because veranda is just, you just have to hope not to get seen. You can do 2 things not seen, and you can still get shot really easily. I think that this is going to be a tough map for Kotte.
Well, it looks like here, all we've gotten so far is 1 flirt, and we've burned a minute off the clock. So we go to the time add window, we do not add time. We're going to rejoin our selection target here in one of the outside conversations, an immediate flirt. This one's green for 85%, so very good situation here for Kotte. WarningTrack is really keeping a close eye on the Ambassador. making sure the Ambassador stays safe out here, and that's allowing Kotte to flirt a little bit with impunity. We're offered a drink, but we're not going to try any kind of purloin here. We're going to step right into statues. That will be a highlight from WarningTrack as we go for our inspects, and this early highlight is going to make it a lot harder to play and get away with stuff, like you mentioned, that's not seen. We have so many hardtails we still have to do, and we're going to do it while we're glowing.
So the nice thing about this, though, is this is just a rote highlight, and so hopefully there's no mental association to this highlight. It's just, oh, they went to statues relatively early and got a and over there. Oh, are we gonna? We should bail. 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 Oh, we missed a huge opportunity there. We were slow on the low lights on the right hand side of the map, and if we appeared at bookcases or went to statues and walked away, we had a real chance at a low light there. A little bit of a missed opportunity. Not that many lowlights coming off, though, so on net, not too bad. Actually pretty good for Veranda, but I think that could have been an opportunity for a really aggressive play.
Yeah, Kotte here really not showing us a lot of aggressiveness on Veranda so far. We just have inspects and flirts and a contacts, so just the 3 soft tails that you'd expect in any kind of standard game. Here's flirt getting done, so that's 2 missions to our credit. Partial progress on a 3rd. Plenty of opportunities still to find a wonderful bug, and then if we can hit some kind of good purloin chain, we're still in business. But Kotte's gonna have to work a little hard for that, and right now we can't really see Toby at all.
Yeah, right now we're looking at the statues behind us. We're looking at our seduction target for some reason. We are going to be hopping into these statues, so this is going to be missions 3 and potentially 4 if we get a swap off. So we could go for a swap and try to get a mission off in the meantime. We don't, and it actually does worry me a little bit because I think that going for a green swap there and trying to make something magical happen in the meantime was potentially our way out of this. And we'll see. We only got a minute left. Are we going to be positioning ourselves for a purloin? Very possible.
Yeah, very possible. There's the purloin. It will be a white test. Track, I think, is going to be all over this. The fade is definitely, I think, hard to see, but it's not even going to matter. WarningTrack takes the shot. Not hard to hit sick here over that crowd. And that's going to be WarningTrack going up to match point on the strength of that purloin shot.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that the shot came out that early. I mean, there was basically nothing really did that game that was that suspicious, just threatening. Maybe we could have gotten a bug up at some point and we were just worried. Then again, it was late in the game, and I guess we had a good sense of was there...
There's no chain.
Yeah, there's no chain. I was going to say, we might have just gotten unlucky there. A little bit worried for Kotte that he's on match point. But I continue to be a little bit worried for Kotte because there's just not the quite level of aggression that he needs. That said, at least we get to go back to the sniper side on Veranda, and I think Kotte is going to do pretty well on this.
Yeah, the sniper side of Veranda is a nice place to play, and WarningTrack here is going to stick out a little bit as Disney in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Starting off with a drink in our hand. Disney, not typically the character with the strongest bugs anyways. We do manage to chase down our seduction target. Hey, guess what? It's Kane again, and that'll be a flirt. It's a green test, of course. 50% here from WarningTrack to open things up in the first 15 seconds.
So it's interesting that we've chosen Kane here a lot. Also, WarningTrack usually mixes up their seduction quite a lot. So one thing is Kane's actually pretty deceptively fast. You wouldn't think it, but very quick with that Kane. And another thing is that I think he's betting that Kotte's not going to... Oh, we have a green time ad. Great little move, especially early in the game when Ambassador's in motion. Trey's in a pretty difficult or a pretty dangerous spot, and there's like nothing on the other side of the map. So I don't think time ad's going to be on Kotte's mind at all. And just kind of one of the things that you have to throw into your diet of Veranda. A lot of the times, a green time ad's going to have a huge impact. On Veranda, has a good impact. It's okay. But definitely going to be useful for us, especially if we can chain something together here.
Yeah, our seduction target is headed our direction, might join our conversation, and indeed he does. That's really nice to have. It's going to be a white test, unfortunately, 80%, although I don't know that a green would have gotten the job done anyways. And so we're here. The Ambassador is nearby, gets locked out of our conversation by Duke, so no opportunity to go for any kind of bug there. Instead, it's going to be a real contact. It will be a white test. Here comes the banana bread. 1, 2, 3 low lights, I think, available. and I'm going to see maybe about 2 or 3 taken. So pretty decent there. We do race over and grab this briefcase, kind of steal it away from Orange Sari, running it over and getting a green print off of it on the way. We'll stop here and just put it down. Not going to go for the return. 3 minutes 19 as the green timeout is about to wear off, and we step into statues here. We'll be able to pick up a pair of inspects.
So Track is having some great pacing right now. So we go for that difficult fingerprint, and we do get it. Track's been monstrous on difficult fingerprints, and really has always been able to rely on them because of it. We do pick up a highlight. I think it's just a rote inspect highlight. But right now we have contact plus 2/3 of inspect, 2/3 of seduce, half of fingerprint done. Is this a fingerprintable statue as well? I don't think so.
No, it is
But we
not.
potentially could go for a swap here. I don't know if you like that.
Well, Track doesn't. Track's going to put it back down. But this is really nice to have half a fingerprint and half a flirt. Half a fingerprint and half a flirt is way more than one mission. 2 halves of 2 missions is really good because it lets you have a lot more flexibility in terms of how you react to what the party gives you. The fingerprint presents itself? Great, go get the fingerprint. Fingerprint doesn't present itself? Great, go get your flirt, and then hopefully by the time you finish that, there'll be a fingerprint available. Of course, at this point, neither is available as our selection target puts down the statue, so we're going to sit here in this conversation, wait to see where he goes. He will not join us a second time, and we don't have very good visibility onto the ambassador here. So with 2 minutes to play, we still need to find... here comes the ambassador with a book in hand, but no obvious opportunities here for a flirt or a print at this particular moment.
Yeah, and there's quite a few highlights running around this map. So right now it looks like Track is really aiming for seduce plus fingerprint press plus probably bug if they can get away with it. Actually, Kotte's rotations on hold on, let's see if we get a bug here. We do not go for this bug, but we could go for this fingerprint right after. It'd be a pretty suspicious move. Are we gonna go for the difficult fingerprint? Interesting. So one thing that is a little bit curious about that is we could have waited longer. That was going to stay difficult for a while. We hit another green. I'm really curious what we're going to do for our last mission here, because we have a very non-suspicious but high level of threat. So we could go for seduce into purloin. Seduce into purloin right here. I think that is absolutely our best play, especially since I don't think we're going to be thinking that a mission win's going to come off here, because sometimes you can get green timeouts in veranda, and the sniper will never notice them.
It's white.
It's
Trey's
gone.
seen
It's
missing.
He's waiting. Know? He's not taking a shot. He has to take the shot. He has to take the shot. He's thinking about it.
Take the shot!
Track might have lost him. Oh, no. He doesn't take the shot off in time. I was going to say Track almost lost himself the game, because I think if he doesn't take that banana bread, I don't think Kotte's shooting. And then the banana bread seems like it's going to trigger a shot, but then it doesn't come off in time. We almost throw that game, but it doesn't matter. Kotte doesn't shoot in time.
Banana bread.
Oh, that's such a close finish. The safety off, zoom in right onto her head, and that look from Disney at the very end. I got you. And that's the set.
I hate that banana bread because the banana bread came off way too late to distract Kotte. And oh my god, if this set had come down to that, Track would have been agonizing if he had gotten shot right there and left himself room for Kotte to come back. Because a banana bread like that coming off right after purloin definitely seems like a distract banana bread. And then you're really worried that they're about to finish. If he had just played it cool, he would have been absolutely fine. But instead, we have a little bit of drama in what should have been a pretty drama-free game coming off of pretty solid spy progress.
Yep, but WarningTrack is able to sneak the win by, and that will be the set here. WarningTrack taking it really in commanding fashion, I would say. 3-9. With WarningTrack winning, is it the last 6 in a row? That's a great point. I think I had missed that as well, but you're totally right. Track went on a tear there. We were split at 3 into the first half of Courtyard, and then Track pulls off 3 spy wins in a row. I think the sniper wins were a little bit easy for Track because Kotte was having some bad ST luck and some pacing issues. But let's see, Track's spy win on what was Track's spy win on the second game of Courtyard?
Oh, right. The ones where Cotty's rotations were slow onto the great game of Spy, where we lasered in on picking up the free inspects, picking up the fingerprint at the. We also could have been credited inspect, so it's a very high risk play. We got that win there. We got the very odd terrace spy win by opting to not go for a fingerprint and instead going for a green time ad. I will definitely ask Track about that sometime just to see why that decision making came up, or if he just missed the fingerprint and thought that he needed the time ad. But I find that hard to believe because Ambassador was the only person there and he was looking straight at him. And then this mission win right here, which came down to fractions of a second off of a pretty solid spy play into a shot. So three kind of very different but very interesting spy wins for WarningTrack, and that added up to 6 wins in a row.
Yeah, so WarningTrack coming in, laying a little bit of waste here at the end of the second half of the set. Obviously, great games from both players. Lots of spicy plays to be had on both sides. But this means that WarningTrack is going to advance in the championship bracket to the finals. Kotte makes it to the semifinals in their very second season of SCL, which is a feat, by the way, not to be underestimated by any means. Second season of SCL being in the semifinals of the entire league, that's pretty good. And then WarningTrack will face the winner of Urand versus Lazy Bear.
Yeah, and let's talk about that. I know that I think Track would rather face Urand because Track likes to face people that he's faced before, and he's gotten to face Urand several times too, just this season alone. But I am pulling. I want to see Track try to prep for Lazy Bear because I'm curious if it can be done. Urand WarningTrack, on the other hand, would be very interesting because it would give Urand time to really try to prep something different. Because one thing about having a reputation for prepping a lot is that you can try to do something that you've never done before and know that it might be especially effective versus someone like WarningTrack. So two very different styles of finals coming out of whichever player wins. But either one of those finals sounds really fascinating to me, and we're gonna have some very, very interesting SpyParty left. Do you know when is the Urand Lazy Bear set? Is that coming up this weekend?
I don't know exactly when it'll be cast, but I'm certain that it will. So if you are here and you enjoy watching SpyParty, be sure to check out the announcements on the SpyParty Discord, discord.gg/SpyParty. We will have announcements for when all of these matches, both in the championship, Urand Lazy Bear and WarningTrack versus the winner of that, will be on this channel, and we will almost certainly have some other matches from the SL postseason coming up as well.
And I do want to echo something you had said about Kotte, and that this is not a disappointing finish for Kotte. One of the nice things about the postseason is that when you lose in this kind of postseason, it's not going to permanently affect your SCL status. This is just him losing his shot at the finals. And I think that Kotte is going to be, after the sting wears off of this loss, I think Kotte is going to be pretty happy with his finish of first place in gold and advancing to the semifinals of the SCL tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. First place in gold, and then making it through the quarterfinals for a player who has risen up through the ranks so quickly and so dramatically. Just love to see that from Kotte. So that will be the end of our set for tonight. Thanks everyone, of course, for coming out and watching. Thanks Slappy Davis, as always, for casting with me. It is always a pleasure talking to you and hearing how you think about the game.
I think we think really alike, which sometimes makes us talk at the exact same time because we have the exact same intuition, but makes for a really nice passing back and forth. I really enjoy it.
Absolutely. All right. And of course, thanks to WarningTrack and Kotte for the games. We'll catch you back here when there is more SpyParty to cast. Everyone, take care. Have a good night.